one.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Here we
Happy
are.
Saturday to everybody. We are back. As promised, we will complete the training we started. We had some questions coming in during the live on Wednesday, which was very chaotic and very us, which we we hope you appreciated. So today we're hoping to settle the score, answer some questions. Got Marco and Andy here again, which is awesome. Good morning, Marco and Andy.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning and hello there.
Thanks for having us back.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody out there can hear us and everything that's coming through good. If not, please comment and our technical expert, who has the face of stress up in one of these corners, will rectify that for us very, very quickly.
Yes, we will do our best. It wouldn't be a Bucketheads live stream without a technical hiccup or two. So expect the odd one here and there, but we're doing our best to smooth it out at all times.
I love being the tech guy. So much fun.
Yeah, you look good at it. You look good at it.
You play the role. Yep.
Exactly. So yeah, welcome back, everybody. We want to go through a couple of things today. Marco and Andy want to make things clear on some of the questions that have come in. We also did a brief craziness talk about giving away some stuff.
We did. Sorry.
I know we're going to talk about that and Patreon contributions, subscriptions to the channel, etc. So, Andy, do you want to talk a little bit more about giveaway and what we're going to do with that and how it's all going to work and how people can contribute to get more awesome content out?
Yes, awesome. As always, we are so thankful for all the patron supporters that we have. It's the only way that this project happens. Marco and I originally funded the original short film out of our pocket, and that was a super fun experience. But unfortunately, he nor I are incredibly wealthy individuals, and as much as we wanted to create the series for you, we just realized that we couldn't create it all out of pocket. So we've turned to Patreon. We are running a Patreon for the project, patreon.com/Twin Sun Film Foundation. The links as well are in all of our social medias, as well as on the website. Steve, hit us with that website. You're so good at it.
www.bucketheads- that's the middle one, not the bottom one, series.com.
You can tell he's rehearsed that. And
we've tidied that up a bit. You guys probably, when you first went in there, would see a link tree to the various different social medias. Our team behind the scenes, and Shannon, thank you, have done some awesome work at making that look a lot more pretty. And that's gonna help, hopefully, you navigate around and get to our social media section.
Yes. So again, this thing only happens because of the Patreons, and we've seen a lot of great support and an increase in support from the release. And we just felt we want to also give back to the patrons at all times. Every level comes with its own rewards and advantages. Obviously, the more you donate, you get greater things. But in a week's time, on Saturday, the 22nd, Saturday, May 22nd, we'll be hosting a live stream. We haven't actually announced the time yet. That'll be coming in the next day or two. Again, through all the socials, we'll be posting on this all week. But we want to do sort of a patron drive and see if we can't continue boosting support for the project. And we've got some sweet things to give away. We haven't exactly figured out the formula for the giveaways yet. It might be based on how many patrons we get throughout the stream. Maybe like every 5 we do a giveaway or something. That, again, all details will come further throughout the week as we sort of figure out these things and announce them. But some of the awesome things we have to give away, you can actually see on Steve Davies' screen there. Steve, why don't you quickly show off for us that wonderful Ewok behind you?
Okay, guys, so this Ewok head is wearable. It was handcrafted and put together by one of our Ewoks, Valerie Hoy. She has donated this, or all her hard work has been donated to be given away to one of you lucky guys out there. Lucky people, I should say. So this is awesome. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know if you can see the detail in this, but it's absolutely fantastic. I went out and about the other day with the tripod, putting this thing in all the bushes and stuff around my apartment complex, and it looks fantastic. So up inside of here, you've got a simple way of sitting out on your head, tightening it up, and you can see through the eyes and have some fun with it. It is absolutely amazing. It's super detailed, and it smells like Ewok. It's absolutely fantastic.
Beautiful. So that's one of the awesome ones we have to give away. One of the bigger giveaways, rather, that we're going to be doing. We've also got a Stormtrooper helmet. I know that's been a highly sought after item from a lot of our fans. So we will be giving away one helmet, and then we've got a lot of other awesome little odds and ends, coins, patches. We've got some fun sort of food packages, Star Wars food packages, and kind of blue milk glasses and things that we used on our 1313 shoot that we want to give away. Just a whole bunch of really cool little odds and ends. So the whole point of it is to try and increase our patron support. The giveaways will be specifically for the patrons. That part I should really mention. So it's not just necessarily for everyone watching the stream. As much as we love your guys' support, the patrons are really funding this and making this happen. So we feel we want to give back to them. So this could be your opportunity to get in. For real cheap, for $5, you might get yourself an awesome Ewok helmet. Who knows? But that is going to be the point of that live stream in 1 week's time.
Yeah. I mean, anyone out there that collects stuff is going to be probably itching to get hold of something that's been out on the screen. And I know that the props that they've used behind the scenes, we talked about it briefly with Terry Chewy, the art director, when we did one of our lives on Instagram. He's put together some crazy small detailed stuff, like you talked about, the blue milk glasses. I think there's packets of calamari snacks, etc. And it's just stuff that adds a little bit of realism and fun to this whole thing. And you could have that. You could own some of that and have some fun with it yourself. If you are a collector, you probably have a shelf like this with all bits and pieces of various stuff, like a thermal detonator, for example, that was used for something somewhere.
Something somewhere.
Yeah.
On a time.
Yeah, so subscribe, be a Patreon contributor, and some of this awesome stuff could be yours.
Yeah, and there's always I just want to add too. There's always other little things that we're doing for the patrons as well. We've got digital goodies that are specific for them. So we released a while ago a Gallius Rax propaganda poster, and there's actually a second version of that is only available for the patrons. So there's always little digital things, BTS photos and pieces we put together that we're trying to give kind of greater insight into how we do this.
Marco, you were going to say something there?
Yeah, I just wanted to say before we move on from these awesome patron rewards, we should give a quick shout out to Drawing 3PO, who's in this stream with us, or more like in the comment sections, because he gave us an awesome reaction video yesterday. Really hyped it up, and thanks for joining us today, Drawing 3PO.
Yeah, I it has to be said, the reaction videos that I've seen up on YouTube, it again making me smile, man. Just to see people are like loving it and just enjoying it, which is what it's all for, right? It's all for that. There's no statement to be made. It's just about putting that reaction on someone's face. It's been fantastic. So yeah, thanks to everyone that's put their reaction videos out there, because it's really enjoyable to watch. It really is. And if you guys listening out or watching haven't checked them out, just do a search for Bucketheads reaction video and just check them out. They're so funny. So funny.
Yes, so many good ones.
As a filmmaker, it's probably the most valuable thing you can get. Like, I know when we screened the short film in theaters, I wasn't watching the screen. I was like turning around and watching the faces of the audience, right? And with reaction videos, you get that MC to see how each story beat lands. So that's super cool, and we love seeing reactions. So do it. We love it.
We love it.
And here's a question. Here's question number one, which actually came in the other day. But talking about what we just mentioned, which was collecting. One of the questions that came in from JJ Reg at JJ Reg is: are any of you collectors? If so, what do you collect, and what is your most prized possession? So around the horn, Marco.
Sure, it's right behind me. This is from the Clone Wars. I actually have the entire suit, adjusted a little bit so it fits me. But love Clone Wars, love the clones, love this helmet.
It's awesome. It's very cool. Very cool.
That is a super cool helmet.
Do you collect though, Marco? Are you a collector, or do you just see something and think, I have to have that? Or is there something in particular that you collect?
You put me on the spot here. I don't think I'm a collector in the true sense of the word. I like collecting specific pieces from Star Wars, mostly armor. collect like action figures or anything like that. But it's also due to the fact that they don't have a lot of space, and there's a little bit of back and forth in my house about how many things I should get for the shelf space that we have.
Yeah, one of the questions I just saw popped up because I'm watching them now, like I probably should. Was is that a specific clone helmet? I think you just mentioned that's Jesse's helmet from the Clone Wars, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so that hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah.
Oh, someone's just answered it for us.
Sorry to interrupt. We weren't quite sure if this is going to fit into the stream, but we just got a $25 Patreon. It just popped up.
Fantastic.
Unfortunately, I only caught the tail end to it. Otherwise, I would read out the name. It's already gone. But I'll be paying attention to that very much going forward. And
we need
that happens.
We need a sound effect. We need a sound effect or a party popper or something to launch every time you tell us that.
I've got the name here. I believe it's Elijah Burdick. Elijah Burdick, thank you so much for donating.
Thank you, Elijah.
Joining the Patreon. Welcome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm looking feverishly around to see if I can make a noise with something.
You need one of those like little party. What are they? The party horn things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll just drink a coffee. It's not a shot, but I'll drink a coffee.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Hey, and
All right.
AD Edits just joined us in the chat. Welcome, AD Edits. Glad to have you here.
Woo. Yeah, we'll be talking AD Edits. We're looking at you guys and gals.
Mm.
Oh, it looks like we got Darth. Well, we got TK316 from the German garrison joining us.
Woo!
Wow, that's awesome.
Welcome from the 501st. We're super grateful that those guys are supporting us.
It's truly
absolutely.
The only way that we can do this is with the support of the 501st. So, they've been an immense part of the project.
Canadian garrisons now checking in as well. That's awesome to see all these guys popping up. That's
Love
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Andy, but we're not done. Andy,
we're not done.
You're not off the hook.
Crap. So I'm not. I wouldn't say that I'm a collector. I probably have the heart of a collector, and I would love to collect many things. For Star Wars stuff. What I would love to collect if I had the money and again the space. I live in a very small home, much smaller than Marco's even, which is very unfortunate. One day I'll have a big place to collect things, but I'll see if I can grab them here without messing them up. This is definitely my favorite Star Wars item that I have. It is from the Namco Bandai Star Wars toy line. It's a Yuri Ashigaru Stormtrooper. I think it is so cool. I love feudal Japanese history and lore and stuff too. I've always really liked that. Isolationist period in Japan. And so I think this mix with Star Wars is like so cool. They've got so many cool ones, not just Stormtroopers, although there are like, I don't even know, there's like 5 different Stormtrooper variants. You can get like a drummer one and ones with guns and stuff. And then there's awesome like samurai Darth Vaders and Darth Mauls and things. Super cool. So this is definitely my favorite Star Wars collectible item that I have.
Yeah, that thing is dope. That thing is awesome. The whole range is super sweet. Super sweet.
So,
I actually, at one of the celebrations I was at, and I can't remember, it's been so long since we've done any of that, but I think it was the last one in Chicago, but somebody had actually done a cosplay costume of the samurai version. I think it was of Darth Vader.
Of Darth Vader. You know what?
I wonder if it's badass.
When I met my wife, when we premiered Bucketheads at DragonCon, it was that same time that I met Nicole. But we also saw a huge samurai Darth Vader. Like it was one of the coolest costumes I have ever seen or cosplays I've ever seen. So I wonder if it would be the same person.
Hats off to the guys that make all that stuff, man. It's just puts a massive smile on your face when you see it for reals. One of the questions just came in is how many E11 blasters do you have?
Yeah, I can see them popping out of the corner of your screen.
Yeah. The gun rack is filling up. I mean, I actually had to do some repairs to 2 of these. One of them is mine. 2 of them are Marco's that got bust up and beat up. So I've had to do a couple of repairs on them. So that's why they're up there. And obviously the DLT-19 is down there too. But having a prop gun rack is definitely weird when the cable guy comes around to fix your TV. It's kind of fun to see the face, the eyes go wide, and you have to explain that nothing's real. But there's just 3 of them there. I'm not spoiled. I've only got 1 at this current point in time.
We all have access to a great many through the project, but
absolutely, and hopefully more to come. I would surround myself with the 11s if I had to.
was gonna really quickly too. You talked about mugs yesterday when we were prepping for the stream, and I wanted to show off also my prize mug, which I just found out has a tiny little chip, and it makes me so sad. It must have been from the last time I watched it, but my little baby Yoda mug. I also, when I say little, it's actually absolutely huge.
There's nothing little about that mug. In fact,
it's huge.
I mean, with our resident German man here, I would say that's a Stein, right, Marco?
Yeah,
That is
enormous.
very much a Stein.
That is a Stein.
Enormous.
I think I have the same one somewhere.
It's not surprised it gets chipped, though, right? I mean, when you got that much hanging off of something you need to just drink from, it's not surprising. Even if you were to wash it up, it's gonna get chipped.
It's tough to wash out too. I won't lie. There's a lot of folds in there.
Maybe you should turn it into a plant pot or something.
Well, I've already got a plant pot here. I could put it beside the stormtrooper head plant pot.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to collecting, I used to collect. I mean, I've still got the toys I've had from when I was a kid. I've still got my original Falcon. I've still got my original Snowspeeder. I used to go out and just be addicted to finding the stuff that I had when I was a kid. Story for me was my mum decided to give all my toys away, unbeknownst to me, thinking that I'd grown up and gone to the pub. And little did she know. So yeah, my life was for a while just replacing all the stuff I used to love and touch and play with. Luckily, I still got some of it. But now I don't really collect. I get FOMO. And if I see something come out and I think that's awesome, knowing the way that the collecting market is nowadays, which is absolutely crazy. And I don't know. That's a whole different conversation. But for me, this cutting to the chase. Stormtrooper, anything Stormtrooper. If I see something Stormtrooper, I buy it. I try not to tell the wife everything, but unfortunately, I like to display it. So, whenever I take a trip to a comic book store or whenever I'm somewhere and I see it, I have to buy a Stormtrooper. And I've got some donations of Stormtroopers. I like Stormtroopers.
I would say of the three of us, you probably have the healthiest collection.
Maybe, but there are some addicts out there for sure that I know, and mugs too. But anything Stormtrooper, I will definitely snap up a Stormtrooper. My most prized possession, though, I was talking to Andy about this, is it's not so much of a toy or a collector, but I was so super lucky enough to have this for me. This is a personalized message from Carrie Fisher, and I absolutely love it. It's not on a store-bought or celebration-bought picture. It's actually one that I printed out to be able to get to her, and I love it. She even made a spelling mistake on it and corrected it in brackets. That is my most prized possession, and I love it, and it brings a tear to my eye every time I see it.
That is awesome.
Hopefully that answers question number 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey guys, real quick, General Zod just donated $5 in the chat and says, how are you better at this with hundreds than Disney with billions talent? So thank you so much for contribution and your kind words. We really appreciate it.
Passion, Zod. We're just full of the passion, as is the whole team. Really, it oozes out of this this production.
Yeah. No, there's no super deadlines when it comes to this, right? We're not pushed. We are, we're just doing. You're just doing what you can do when you can do it, and I think everyone's seeing that now. And thank you so much for the sign up on the Patreon. That's awesome. Every single thing helps, and the more we get, the more we're going to see the next part and the next part and then the next episode, and that's super exciting. Thank you so much. Anything else is coming in there for questions, or can I move on with another one?
Let's move on. Let's go with these questions that we couldn't get to the last.
Yeah. So next one is cool film, and this is from what looks like Vlon007, Vlon.007. Cool film, but how did the guy survive a blast to the face? I think they're referring to the last shot with the helmet.
Yes.
Yeah. I've read many interesting theories about that in the comments. I think we don't want to fully reveal what the truth is.
But how did he? Well, but how did he survive the blast to the face? I think is a fairly easy answer for us. That in trying to bring a sense of realism to the film, we always envisioned that the armor does something. It's not just useless, or like a war paint kind of scenario. It actually has defensive properties. So exactly how he took the shot, I don't think we necessarily needed to envision, but the goal there was just that the armor took the majority of the blow, and obviously it hurt him, and he survived this. And you got to imagine in a tense war moment like that, you are going to be filled with so much adrenaline. You know, your body can survive a lot more than you think it can in those kinds of moments. So he obviously took a bad shot. He needed help on the way out, and thank God Torrin came to find him.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, the way I look at it is that scene from Aliens where the acid gets on the armor, and if you quickly whip it off, you survive, right? So energy bolt hits the helmet, takes out all the comm links and stuff, as you can see from that last shot, smoking away on the floor there. Yeah, that's the armor does its job. It doesn't just smash into 1,000 pieces sometimes, right? So yeah. But great question. Great question. Great observation. We've had some awesome observations coming in comments as well. So hopefully that answers your question to some sort of fruition for you. But yeah, let us know what you think. I mean, there's some great comments coming in. Next one is from Liam Bradley. How much did this all cost?
Way less than you think.
I mean, is it something which you must be totting some of it up. You must be seeing what it's costing you, because a lot of this is coming from your own personal wallets, right?
Exactly. So, it comes with the help from our patrons, and obviously we're doing our due diligence in proper bookkeeping. So what I can say is that the endo portion, the prologue that we've shown, cost roughly the same as the short film we put out in 2018. And as is evident, we've been able to do so much more and stretch each dollar so much more, than received so much more support from the filmmaking community here, from the 501st community. Just so many more people came together, and we were able to take it so much further than we were 2 years ago with roughly the same budget, which was about Andy, how much was it? Like about 12,000 Canadian?
It's around 12,000 Canadian. Yeah, I'm sure, give or take a few $100s. But yeah, we stretched that 12,000 so bloody thin, and just make it work and last as long as we can. And again, really, this is as much something we can make with the patrons' help as it is our own team and the amount of volunteer hours everybody is putting in around their day jobs and around their families and things. And around COVID, it's also been a struggle to ensure people have safe working environments and are comfortable, congregating to work on this kind of stuff. So, that $12,000 we have made go real far, and that partially deals with the pacing of how quickly we can get all this done and out as well. There's no secret formula. The more money you have, the quicker you can speed up a production schedule. That just really is what it is. We're able to pay for location costs and offer money for props and resources to build sets. And otherwise, we're simply relying on donations, which we've been very fortunate in receiving some large, especially donations of resources, of wood and material and things like that have really allowed us to take this to the next level. And
wood is a hot commodity right now.
These days wood is a very one.
Perspective. I want to say, if we had to pay for everything, every costume, every set piece, every prop, for the VFX work and whatnot, which was all done in kind, we'd be looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars. And easily. Just because people wanted to make this happen, donated their time and their resources, we've been able to do it for comparison.
Yeah, Tom Fuller edit said, how did you get all the costumes? Did you buy them or are they made? Are they made by? So do you want to elaborate on that? I mean, a lot of the armor is obviously personal armor owned by friends, 501st friends, family. Like yourself, yeah,
I would say like 85% of the costumes are owned by 501st individuals and personal costumes. And we just we're very fortunate to be able to tap into the 501st, the Outer Rim Garrison, specifically here around Vancouver. But there are certain pieces that we make and stuff too. So the stunt suits, nobody wants to trash their suits for the film, and I completely understand that. So we've made a couple of stunt suits that we can then put through the ringer. I think a few of the Ewok pieces we sort of helped along. I believe they were well onto being, on their way into being made. But just for the schedule that we kind of had to have them created, we sort of facilitated helping them along. And then I think, is that really it? There's some things coming up that we're creating as well, but I think for what everybody's seen, that's been the majority.
answer a quick question I've just seen pop up. West Coast Films asks, as a fellow Vancouverite with experience in the film industry, will there be future opportunities to volunteer some time to help out? Yes, absolutely. We're entirely a volunteer crew. So if you'd like to join us, we're more than happy to bring out skilled people. Send us an email to info@transweedpictures.com, please.
Yeah, I saw that one pop in as well. So there's so many questions coming in on this live. It's crazy. I didn't know we'd have so many more questions coming in. A lot of them are the same kind of questions, so we can probably elaborate again on some of them. I fortunately don't speak what looks like Russian, so I can't answer that one. Here's a great one though: the Ewok getting crushed by the rock. How did you come up with that? Whose idea was that? Who's the evil one in this room? I'll cover the ears.
I actually don't remember. How did we come up with that?
I honestly think it was me. I think we had always wanted, this, God, what do you call it? It's like the false victory moment, where Torrens overcome this issue in front of him, and then just as he's about to fully overcome it, something happens, and we definitely conceptualized it without the rock crushing the Ewok first. And then I think we just sort of saw it and said, like, why wouldn't we just slightly shift the Ewok and have the rock come down and crush it in sort of a bit of irony? So, I think that one was originally my idea, but I mean, I know it was just you and I riffing off each other going, this is how it should unfold. And then we just sort of saw it and said, hey, let's make it that way. Because we've never seen an Ewok get crushed by its own trap. And surely this is one of the pitfalls of a war scenario. So,
yeah. It put a smile on my face, which I guess is a bad thing, right? But it did put a smile on my face, give me a little chuckle. I mean, the line that follows or precedes that with "I've had enough of these Ewoks" was absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
And a lot of people have been commenting about that as well. One of the other questions that came in though, just to speed it along and get going here, was did we use a military advisor? And we've covered this on a couple of lives.
Oh yeah.
Apologies for not having the last live up. We were doing some editing on that, so we'll hopefully get that one up again, and that will answer the previous questions. But yeah, there was Skylar, right? So do you want to talk about that, guys?
Yeah.
Do you want to mention that real briefly about military advisor?
Absolutely. So Skylar Watkins is our primary military advisor. He's a retired, I believe his rank was sergeant, but don't quote me on that. But I actually met him on a TV series I was working on in town. We got talking. He mentioned his military experience, and I knew from the short film that we had a lot of catching up to do in terms of making sure things are more accurate on the military side of things. So I just asked him point like, hey, do you want to do some, have you thought about doing some advising as well? And he was totally on board. Just revising our script, making suggestions, coaching our troopers in how to stand, how to aim, how to move. It's been awesome. It turns out that our first AD also has an extensive military record in the Canadian military. Sort of been jumping in whenever Skylar or was working on a different end of set and we were shooting other thing. So between those two, we've had some really, really excellent military advisors involved in the creation of this.
Yeah. Another great question. I guess it is a question here. Who is this? I got to try and read this. Why, guys, you have some crazy names. It makes it really hard.
It stresses Steve out.
It stresses me out because I don't want to put anyone in a bad place. But I'm going to try this one. You know what? I'm just going to spell it. I don't get it. It's W1LLK11. What's that? Is that? I don't know.
Wilkin?
Basically, Wilkin Snake 07, something like that. Anyway, great question. I'm struggling with the name, but the question I love. Obviously, a lot of people have been saying this is great. They're really enjoying what's going on the screen. They're amazed with the quality of everything that's coming up and comparing it, obviously, to what we see on the big screens from other places. But the point here is actually quite valid, I think. He says, I guess the tech is now at a point that you can make it as authentic and on par with the big boys. And I think that's a really good point to make, is that things have changed from what they were once. And the technology and the stuff that we have available to us just out there and to be able to use is fantastic, right? So do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah. I think it's a hard one because I think they're correct in that the tech is as it's progressed becomes more available to a larger audience. Working digitally primarily with all this stuff, you can work on your home computer. You can edit without needing a large machine to cut film and run it back through and review the edit and all this stuff. You can just take your home PC and look at all this stuff. So the technology does make it more accessible. But I would also just impress that it's, this is a collection of professionals, and that's not to say anybody who wants to make a fan film can't do this to this level, but that we've certainly done our best in tapping into as many high tier professionals that do this kind of stuff for a living. And this may be their first fan film, but they're working on AAA blockbusters. They're working on Marvel shows or CW or just big features that run here in Vancouver. So the technology is definitely more accessible, but we're still doing our best to garner as many high-level individuals who have a lot of experience using this kind of tech to deliver that really high quality.
Man, that's cool. Hopefully that answers that question. Did I just see another donation there, Marco?
Yeah. Yes, you did. Darth Bane donated $30 through Super Chat. He's also one of our most ardent supporters on Patreon, so thank you very much, Darth Bane. And he said, well done with descriptive audio. We did create a descriptive audio version of episode 1. You can find the link to it in the video description. Also asking, have you seen the fan film TK436, The Stormtrooper Story, full director's cut? You'd love it since you love Stormies. Yes, of course we've seen it. I believe it won the Lucasfilm fan. I'm sorry, I don't recall the exact name of the event, but it was definitely a big film. I think 3 or 4 years ago, and I think it was really well done and a really cool story.
Yeah, we've watched a lot of fan films, Star Wars fan films specifically. And, I'm preparing for this and what other stories were people creating and how are they tackling the visual effects and the special effects. We love to see other people's stories too and how they do it all.
All right, rolling on. From first name, last name, what was the best part of making Bucketheads?
That's a big question.
Well, it's not finished yet, right? So it's hard.
Yeah.
So far, ...
I mean, I have a fairly easy answer for myself. We did the original short film in the forest. We had to do a prologue, had to set the setting of this series in going back to the forest and shooting Endor. But we have already shot a portion of Chapter 2, Episode 1, Chapter 2. And that takes us into level 1313. And that was a riot to film. Especially from a cinematographer perspective, getting to work with our production designer and building up this environment in a studio and then building practical lighting and lighting cues inside the set and lighting it ourselves. It was just a ton of fun to really design the look and the feel of level 1313. So that was, I think, one of my favorite experiences. And in that same shoot, we also shot the TIE Fighter and TIE Interceptor interior. So that was a blast to do as well. I know we were all watching the monitor with our jaws dropped once all the lighting effects took place and stuff. It was like, this is Star Wars.
Marco, what about you?
Yeah, I have to go with the TIE. I have to go with the TIE cockpit as well. So our team rebuilt the cockpit in our studio, which was amazing to watch. And then we actually brought in big LED screens to the space battle onto our TIE pilot's armor, just like they did it in, I think, Solo. Just takes it to a whole other level of realism. Like, you just watch it and it's suddenly real. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I can't do or just like that. It was so cool.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, if it matters, I would honestly just say every day on set, because everybody involved, everybody doing this, doesn't matter who they are, they just enjoy it and they're an absolute pleasure to be around. And it's such a great feeling. And you're exhausted and you're tired and, a little bit grumpy, but everybody is enjoying it. And it's such a great buzz to be on set. So, that's not a pandering in any way. It's the honest truth. Everything is amazing about it. So when you leave the set, you just feel awesome, and you can't wait to do it again. So for me, that's the best thing about making Bucketheads is it's for fun. It's a fun project. It's a passion, and that's what makes it so much fun. That's my point of view.
Your point matters. Yeah, you're a part of this.
Steve, I have a quick question for you asked by Ron Lipsker in the chat.
Okay.
How good can you guys see in the helmets? And I'm asking that question because you've been in those suits for most of our shooting because you actually portray Captain on camera.
Yeah. I mean, from wearing it all the charity events we do with the 501st, and from the day you put it on, the legends are true. I shall say the limited vision is terrible, and not only can you not really see below your nose, you've also got very dark green welding lens covering those small little holes as well. So if you can see behind me, they're kind of, the eyes are the wrong way round. If you think about it, you want the wider bit nearer your nose so you can see down, just like with glasses. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, I know when we filmed the bunker scene, we had to do some movement around there, and the trees have roots and there's dips in the ground and you can't see your feet. So looking down doesn't work. You can't be a stormtrooper and looking down where you're walking. It's not going to play well. So you have to know, you have to get it right. You have to know where you're going to put your feet. You have to know where you're walking, and you need to rely on the people around you to make sure you don't hurt yourself. And again, that goes back to the teamwork. And again, any event where you're wearing a bucket. There has been some awkward instances where I have turned around an event, and I will say that if I'm holding something in my hand, like an 11 blaster, it may have knocked a couple of kids, but you don't know they're there. I mean, sometimes that's a nice, you go to walk away and there's some kid just hugging your leg. So, you can't see any of that. So it's very, very limited vision, very limited vision.
Kids are rubber anyways. They're going to bounce back.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't have said that, right? But it's true. It happens, right? Be aware. We can't see. And a lot of the time, if you would have a handler with you when you do an event, especially out in the public, they would have a handler there. Handlers do an amazing job of making sure we're all safe, everybody. But I think it goes back to what we were talking about the stunts when we were talking with Chad about the stunts. As soon as you put the bucket on, there's a very claustrophobic feeling, and you can't see, you can't have all your senses. It's difficult. It's difficult work for sure. Yeah, for sure. Hopefully that answers that.
Yeah, and I mean we've seen that too. As it was definitely a challenge while we were filming certain sequences. Like there's this big sequence near the end of the prologue where our troopers retreat and they run through the forest at pretty much full speed. This really cool top-down shot with the X-wing shadows crossing over top, and then some slow motion running in it. And you can't really see the ground. You're in the forest. It's uneven. There's roots everywhere. She had one little incident on set where a trooper did fall. And
it wasn't just a trooper. It was Nomi with KR8 on her, and she lost a boot.
True.
Yeah, and she popped right back up, and she was like, "I'm good. We're like, "Oh my god!" Like, "Oh, are you okay?"
How do you lose a boot, man? Those things are hard to get on.
I think her boot was a little bit oversized at that point. I remember we've rectified that issue since, but I feel for that moment her boots were a bit big for her.
I'm just gonna say I have to apologize. I had my question paused on the last one, and there's like another 1,000 pouring in. I'm just scrolling like crazy. I can't keep up. I'm terrible. Hopefully you guys.
I'm trying to put some of the chat in our little agenda thing here too. So
yeah. Sorry. But one of the things I have just seen here, we get a lot of questions about this, and I don't know. I think there's quite a good part of it covered. But somebody has asked, will there be any more female Stormtrooper characters? We still have female Stormtrooper characters, and I'm sure if it needs be, there will be again. There's no need. It doesn't matter who's under the armor. It's a Stormtrooper. So.
Yeah, and you know what I mean. Like this question comes across a lot, or I think this inaccuracy comes across a lot in some of the questions that there are no female stormtroopers, but that is just not true. Or there are no females within the Empire military. Ray Sloan is one of rise through the ranks. Pardon me, trying to put that one together. And held a very large position within the Empire. We also have seen Phasma on screen, Captain Phasma, and yes, this was First Order, but at the same time, we have no issue in having women within the military, and especially when you take into context the time period that we're attacking. It's the fragmented empire, right? They're going to need everybody that possibly can fight to win the war at this point, having suffered such heavy losses recently. So we have no issue in having women wear the armor.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason why there wouldn't be, I think, is the answer for that. There's no reason why there wouldn't be.
Yeah,
exactly. The people that we've had play the part so far have been fantastic and awesome, and it will just keep going that way, I'm sure. Can't speak for you guys, but I'm just sure that's exactly what you would say in this situation.
Yes.
I'm going to go do another one from here. One of the ones I just saw pop in was, why did you choose the name Transmute Pictures? That's actually an interesting question.
Oh, I know this one. I wanted a great many different names to try out, and Marco went, I already have the name Transmute Pictures registered. Why don't we go with that? And this was like when Marco and I first met and we're, deciding to make a production company. So that was an easy sell. And Marco, why don't you see where it comes from?
The story behind that name. It's pretty simple. Anime. I love Full Metal Alchemist. And transmutation is a central part of that show. And it's the process of alchemy, turning something into something else, not necessarily gold. Certainly trying to turn things into gold here. But yeah, that's basically it. We're taking something and turning it into something else.
Yeah.
We have our fun internal slogan for Transmute Pictures. We take your crap and turn it into gold.
I didn't want to go there, but yes.
It's not a real slogan. It's just something we've always
But then we also created the Twin Sun Film Foundation specifically for the Bucketheads series. That name is obviously very much rooted in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it's a non-for-profit that we registered because this project is not for profit. I just want to make it very clear that it's its own thing that is not part of the of our actual production company that is up for hire.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We can go into that a bit more later. I
have a great question here in the chat before it goes away by T Vision.
Mm-hmm.
Is KR8 the name of the droid? Is that from Star Wars Custom? KR8 is the name of the droid, or Crate, KR8 Crate. That's because the Crate Dragon is an integral part of the Outer Rim Garrison's logo and identity. And the Outer Rim Garrison is the local garrison here in Vancouver and BC, up in Western Canada. And the droid was designed and built by the BC Droid Builders Club. So they decided on that name to pay tribute to that.
I thought it was funny too, just to point out that, and I don't feel this is a spoiler, you've all had time to see Mando from the start of season 2. They mention and bring in the Crate Dragon. We had KR8 built and named, and that was already done before Mando introduced the Crate Dragon there. So we thought that was pretty cool that, like, we're definitely paralleling some of the thought process in Disney right now for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Another question, again, zipping along. How did you guys get Mark Mayer involved?
We just gave him a quick call. It was that easy. I'm kidding.
It kind of was. We were looking for visual effect artists, and a gentleman by the name of Nick Romick, who runs the Vancouver Computer Graphics Association here in Vancouver, which is a not-for-profit visual effect incubation house. So they take students who've recently graduated or are close to graduating, and just other individuals who are interested in visual effect work, and give them sort of a setting and the ability to build their skills up. And so anyways, they were in the later stages of a project called Galactic Space Battles, which is another fan film. It takes like 4 different sci-fi properties and mashes them all together in one very awesome sci-fi fight extravaganza. But so they had gotten Mark Mayer to work with them, and we were approaching them about working on some of our visual effects, and they just kind of mentioned this to us that, hey, they had a line to Mark Mayer. Is that something we'd be interested in? So they made the connection for us, and then it was sort of as simple as calling it. We sent them off an email with the original short film, you know, in a semi-polished state, and just basically said, hey, this is a project we're doing. We need some voice actors for some of our stormtroopers. Would you be interested? And I think he just saw it and sort of saw the unpolished diamond in the rough that was to be, and was excited to jump on board.
Plus, he's a fantastic human being and very, very
Absolutely.
approachable.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to zip along, guys, because as typically happens here, we are already 3/4 of an hour into our hour, and I know that we got places to go and people to see and all the rest of it. So I am just going to keep going through this. So apologies if I'm not seeing your questions come up, or if you know, I'm going to look through this as much as we can, but we may have to do another one of these. I mean, imagine that. That would be terrible, right? So this is a general one. We cover quite a lot, but I'm going to just reel it out there again. How many episodes have been filmed? Again?
Chapter 1 has been filmed, as you saw. We have filmed part of Chapter 2, Episode 1. And for the entire series, it is written to be 5 episodes long. Our hope is very much that after Episode 1, we don't have to break this into chapters anymore. We can tackle each episode in its entirety, but due to budgetary constraints, Episode 1 will be 3 chapters long. And we will do a supercut at the end. When we release Part 3, we're going to cut together Chapters 1, 2, and 3 and just release it as sort of the 30-minute episode of television it was meant to be.
Great. Yeah, and just to clarify this for everyone who's not entirely on board with that concept yet, what we released was not the entirety of Episode 1. It was just the prologue, the opening. There's 2 more parts to that first episode. The actual full episode is going to be about 30 minutes long. The reason we've done that is because it takes a lot of time to make a 30-minute episode at that level. So instead of having to wait another year to release the full thing, or however long it's going to take, we actually don't know at this point. We decided to just put out the prologue for everyone to see, so you guys can see what we're doing and what level we're trying to achieve.
I'm going to clarify one other thing, because this kind of gets also something that we did want to talk about out of the way as well. We sort of do know how long it is going to take for Episode 1. We wanted to talk a little bit of roadmap with everyone as well, and production schedule, to keep people apprised of how this thing is moving along. So released Chapter 1. We shot part of Chapter 2. With the increased support on the Patreon, we really expect to be able to release Chapter 2 this year, as well as shoot all of Chapter 3. We very likely won't be able to release Chapter 3 as the supercut this year, but it will be certainly within Q1 of next year. At this point, with the support we're seeing on the Patreon, that feels very reasonable.
Fantastic. Super exciting too. All right, rolling on, guys, rolling on. So rolling on. Project, that was from Errol Herzog, by the way. Thank you, Errol Herzog, for the episode's question. Project Aletheia, what's the time frame for you to get a full episode done, from shooting to edit to VFX, the full thing? What's the time frame you've had to get that done so far?
Yeah, so it's been a bit fluid because, again, just the volunteer nature of the project, that we're working around other people's schedules for their work life, for their home life, not being able to pay people to necessarily hold to a schedule, but just sort of do your best. This is our deadline. Let's try and meet that. So far, I think for Episode 1, it was almost, for Chapter 1, it was almost a year, I think. We were conceptualizing before that, so I don't really want to bring in the full breadth of pre-prod, because that goes into Episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Like writing it, coming up with the story and everything too. But I would say it was about a year for Chapter 1 to get done. And again, this 100% comes down to budget. To make it to this level with $12,000 takes about a year's time when everybody's volunteering and you're not paying people.
Thanks, Andy. Okay, this is coming from somebody we all know, and I particularly do know and love. This is coming from Ali Williams. Will you be at Star Wars Celebration 2022 in Anaheim in the new date of May the 26th to 29th?
Take it, Marco.
Yeah, certainly try. Yeah. For Celebration 2020, which obviously didn't happen, but I still got the T-shirt. As individuals, we are certainly going to go. We don't know yet whether we can go and show Bucketheads there. That is something that we need to do research on, get authorization for. I've certainly seen fan projects being screened at Celebration, so it's possible. We just don't fully know yet. Attached, but we're certainly going to try and make it happen.
Yeah, thanks for that question. Thank you, the wife. We will be there. If that's a question rhetorically, yes, we are going.
Yeah, I think she's just asking you at this point.
We are going. And with that being said, if we're going, this boy's coming too. So there will be some representation there, I'm sure. But thank you for that question.
Yeah.
Now from Sci-Fi Girl Games, I think it is. Are you able to make? Oh, you know what? I'm going to save this till the end. If we got time to talk about it, we've got 10 minutes. I'm going to save this one to the end because I think you want to talk about this. We keep talking about this, and some of these questions that come up, they're very valid questions. And thanks for asking. We have a fax, a frequently asked questions sheet that we put, and we're going to put it up on the website in different places, and hopefully that'll answer a lot of the questions moving forward. But I'm going to save this one to the end. And I think you'll know why when I do. This is from Project. Will you be referencing Canon novels going into the future, such as Troops from Thrawn or Lost Stars?
Marco, why don't you take this one? You've got the very book with you.
Absolutely. I read a lot of Star Wars books. This is one of them. In terms of the way it's written, but it chronicles a very interesting period in the Star Wars timeline, which is the Imperial Remnant, the period between the Battle of Endor and the Battle of Jakku, the downfall of the Galactic Empire. And that's exactly where our story takes place. So we are staging our story in the same framework. We're referencing events that happen in the official timeline, but we're telling our own original story within that timeline.
Bring that book back up one more time. You had it kind of half out of frame when you showed it there. Bring it nice in frame. There we go.
And certain characters will make an appearance that are in this book.
Very cool, very cool, very cool. Okay, from Cute Cat Studios. Will there be more space visuals and scenes? I'm thinking the CG space battle type thing. Are you guys gonna be delving more into that, or is that?
Oh yeah, I mean I think that was many people's favorite part, and what really got people hooked. The opening with that insane space battle that was created by our effects team. I think the key players Brandon, our animator, our lighting and surface and modeling supervisor. And then Calvin, our chief compositor. I'm omitting anyone, but I think those are the key players in that.
You're certainly omitting Tom. I think we should always give Tom a big shout too.
Sometimes you just take people for granted, right?
You're working yourself into a corner here, my man. I would have just said the visual effects team. They're all excellent.
Tom roll.
Yeah. But yeah, it wouldn't be Star Wars without space fights, right? So that's not the last one for the series. That's
great stuff. Great stuff. Question here from Luke Skywalker. I know he's on the chat as well because I saw something pop up earlier. I'm sorry if I missed that next question, but he's saying, I'm in South Africa. Is it possible for me to film some scenes with 501st members for a contribution?
Yes.
Interesting question.
Yeah. I think, well, we've kind of gotten a similar one too of like, how did you guys get the 501st? How did you do this thing? I think that's a great question, and if I would give any advice, it would be just to treat this as much as your own personal fan film project, as much as a professional endeavor as possible. Even if you're doing this just for fun, if you're doing this in your time, your spare time, maybe you're not a filmmaker, or this is your first film or whatnot. Just treat it professionally. I think that's what people respond to well, is they want to know that whatever they're getting involved with, there's a lot of care being taken and there's passion. We took the 501st members out, the Outer Rim Garrison, when we pitched to them. We took them to the bar and had some drinks, and we created a one-sheet document that had the synopsis and characters on it and some spec art, and we handed that out and then let people read through it, and then we sort of put a pitch towards them. So I think anybody can reach out to any of the garrisons around them. You have to remember, these are individuals, and that's what they're going to be coming to your project as, not representing the 501st, but just their own passion for the project and passion for Star Wars. So that's what you need to tap into. Good point.
And it has to be said that this is all done with the utmost respect and passion and love for the Star Wars franchise. This isn't, something which is like, oh, we want to do it. Oh, this is building. This is adding stories. This is doing content. This is all with the utmost respect and appreciation for the lore of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unless that question is coming around saying, can I get together with my 501st members in South Africa and do some scenes for you to add? Maybe that was the question too. I don't know, but that would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Send us a scene.
Yeah.
Last one here on, actually not last one, just getting to the bottom here. This is from Monster Flicks. Just watched the first episode. Guys did a great job. Short question. What kind of camera did you use?
Ooh, we used red cameras. Specifically, we shot this on red weapon heliums in 8K that were generously provided to us by both Raw Camera, which is a rental house in town, and Linus Media Group.
We also did some pickups on our Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pro G1. And we had a crash cam for a single shot, which was a Sony A6300.
Very cool. I have no idea what you just said. So moving on. Hopefully that answered that question, though, for Monster Flicks. There's a question coming from Ben 10 Stop Motion Studio Production. Will you only focus on normal stormtroopers? I'm guessing TKs. Or perhaps later on, maybe have some Death Troopers and some other troopers and some special things?
There are lots to focus on. We have tons of stormtroopers or variants that we want to showcase in some capacity or another. We also have our sister series that we run, Tales from the 501st. Currently, the only episode 1 of that is out right now. Checkpoint. That's also on the Transmute Pictures YouTube channel. But we have 6 or 7 stories thought up and in various stages of script that we want to film for that as well. One which I really want to get into sooner than later is about a Death Trooper and just the total badassery that exists within the Death Trooper lore and why they're a step above Stormtroopers, and really showcasing that in sort of a battle scenario. So, yeah.
Mike Jolin says no spoilers.
No spoilers, no, but that's the basic premise for an upcoming Tales episode that I would really like to shoot. It'll be action heavy and give you, I think, a taste of a Death Trooper like you've always wanted to see them.
Fantastic. I can't wait to see that. That'd be awesome. A couple of questions that have come in on the same line, and I can't remember everybody that asked it, but you know who you are. Are there going to be a blooper reels? Release the blooper reels. Let's see some bloopers. So hopefully you guys are going to put that onto some sort of special blooper bit of fun that we can do for everyone. It looks like there's a few people who are going to be interested to see some bloopers, and there's been a few. So,
definitely, yeah.
I think we're getting towards the end of our stream.
We are.
One big question that we still need to answer, Steve.
There is. So everybody keeps asking. Yeah, everybody keeps asking. How do you guys get away with this? This can't be a fan film. How have you done this? How are you getting? So everyone wants to know how you can make something in Star Wars without all of a sudden being trampled all over and shut down by Disney, Lucasfilm, etc. And he kind of briefly covered that. But I want you guys to just try and make it clear to everyone that this is a fan film. It's being done under the guidelines of any fan film would be done. Just because of the quality of it doesn't mean there's anything different. So if you wanna stretch that out a bit and explain to everybody how this is possible, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So Disney has very specific guidelines they lay out for fan film productions, and they're much more lenient and tolerant and open than many other large companies like Warner Brothers or CBS Paramount. Disney actually encourages fans to create their own fan films. And we did our research. We're following those guidelines, which are do not monetize the content directly, which we're not doing. Stay true to the brand, like don't make it overtly violent or sexual. And don't make it a feature film, put it in theaters, try to pass it off as an official Star Wars production. We're very clear that this is a fan film. It's in the title, it's in the description, it's everywhere. It's very important to know that the Patreon is not in direct support of Bucketheads. It's in support of our YouTube channel. And that's how it's being done by virtually anyone who does what we're doing. Star Wars Theory does it like this. Low-Share Films does it like this. Cinematic Captures does it like this. It's always in support of the channel, and the channel just happens to also make Star Wars fan film. And that's sort of the agreement that seems to work. Shut down over this so far, and we're just super glad to make Bucketheads under these parameters.
To tie this into a question I actually see here in the chat from Project Alethea again, will we ever see an R-rated version of Bucketheads or an episode? Again, this goes into what Marco was saying, and that we need to follow certain guidelines that Disney has laid out, and one of those is that you have to keep the property within sort of what Disney is doing. So they're not creating R-rated Star Wars. They're not showing a lot of blood and viscera and over the top swearing and language and things like that. And so we have to keep our project within that same realm as well. We're certainly trying to push the boundaries in sort of the typical clear-cut good and evil. We're trying to paint tones of gray, and trying to paint some of the devastation that war really is, and the darker aspects of what that is. But we do have to keep it, again, in a wider, friendly audience kind of manner. We can't just show people getting their heads blown off or show guts hanging out. That would immediately, I think, trigger Disney to say, hey, this isn't what we want the fans to look at Star Wars like, so we're not okay with this.
Yeah, it's not what's needed either, right? You don't need that,
And you know what? You can show those kinds of things in dark ways without getting into R-rated territory. My favorite moment of this, and it was a shock for me when I watched it, was I believe it was Rogue One. Is it? It's Cassian Andor and Rogue One in one of the opening scenes, and he absolutely murks a guy in the back, who's a good dude, and it's like very front and center in the screen, but you don't see blood or gore or anything. But that doesn't mean that the moment doesn't ring true for how heavy that is and what he's doing.
Right. Absolutely.
So there are clever ways to get around that stuff to still deliver, I think, a darker tone, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Somebody just commented how they like we use the word criff to.
Yeah,
in
totally.
case you're wondering.
Yeah.
And one more quick follow-up. Mike Jolan says Star Wars Theory actually had trouble with the music rights. That is true. And we know why. It wasn't actually Disney who came after him for that. It was Warner Brothers, who holds the rights to the original. Sorry, not Warner Brothers. Fox, who holds the rights to the original Star Wars soundtrack. Episode 4, 5, 6. And some of the music he used was a little bit too close to the Imperial March, which makes sense because it's a Vader series. And that's where that copyright claim happened. Our music is entirely original, composed by Samuel Kim, who is an amazing composer. And he's obviously taking inspiration from Star Wars. They're being very careful to not stray too close to the established themes that may be taken as...
It's the story of Icarus.
Yes.
Yeah. One person's just commented here, put on the Stormtrooper helmet. Is that how we end this? I mean, I
think we have to. We usually we end the films with them taking it off, so you gotta have it now coming on here.
Yeah, I can do that. I mean, guys, we are at 4 minutes past 12. We have done an hour. Marco, I know you have to get off and do some stuff. So do you guys want to just have a quick look down here and see if there's anything else you want to mention, or do you feel good right now? Get one last thing out.
I'm gonna just take this final moment to reiterate. Next week, Saturday, May 22nd, we will be doing another live stream. It's going to be a Patreon drive. The goal is to garner as many new patrons as we possibly can. We'll be doing a bunch of giveaways specifically for the patrons. So it's a great time to join the project and join us on this journey. And you might win some very cool stuff. Behind Steve Davey again, there's the Ewok helmet that was created by Valerie Hoy. It's awesome. You could be taking that home. A Stormtrooper bucket we're going to be giving away. You could take this bad boy home, as well as lots of other little small knickknacks and really cool pieces, coins, patches. Actually, we've got a few kinds of patches. We've also got little odds and ends from our Star Wars, or from our 1313 shoot, little food packs in Orabesh and blue milk glasses, and just all manner of cool little collectible things. So the goal is really to drive up that Patreon, which helps us get this to you guys faster, and special giveaways for those lucky contributors.
Yeah, and anyone who didn't get an answer to that question today, again, apologies. There's so many coming in. It's fantastic. It's absolutely great. We will review it and add them to a list of the next time we do this. As Shannon's just said in the chat, that we do have the facts, and I mentioned that earlier. Go to the website and check out the facts page, and that will answer a lot of the questions I think that most people are asking. But yeah, keep questions coming in. We're definitely going to use them. We're definitely enjoying these lives and chatting with you guys and interacting with you guys. So you're not always going to get Marco and Andy, but we're definitely going to keep this one going. So Marco, I'll let you end it. I'm going to grant this person their wish I'm going to take off my mic so I won't be able to hear you. I will say thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for giving up your Saturday morning. Thanks for putting up with our stuff. It's been an absolute awesome time, and see you on the next one.